That's where it gets dangerous. Because you're like,
Yeah.
how far do
Then
I...
you're 2
do
weeks
I-
in and you're sending like beheading videos to each other.
2 weeks in, and I'm sending pictures of real taxidermy selfies with me in it.
But when I do it to 2 people in a park, no.
It's all bullshit.
Where his eye had come out of his head and it was in the bottle.
It's been a long
We
time
interrupt the
since we
banging
recorded.
tunes to bring you another episode of the Earth Sandwich Podcast. Welcome. I am Charlie, one of your hosts. These are the co-hosts, Andy and James. How are we today, boys? How are we?
I'm very well. Andy looked like he was doing his impersonation of like Elmo. Like,
Hi, God. What does Elmo even sound like?
Elmo's good.
Elmo's on a podcast. I don't know. I haven't watched Sesame Street.
What the fuck kind of voice was that? That was
I
like
don't
Danny
know,
DeVito.
man. I was.
Elmo's on cocaine.
I also thought of Kermit, so in my head I was like, do a Kermit impression. I was like, no, that's not
yeah.
Elmo. That's famously not
Just like-
Elmo.
Nah. It's the
Elmo,
other
and he's there
coloured
like,
fella.
That's Bruno
Not Kermit.
Andy's there
Fernandes.
like, is
Take
it the
that out.
green? Andy's there like, is it the green or the red one? I can't remember.
Whatever.
James, you can't say that.
Or is he the blue one? Because there's a
Or-
blue one as well.
Is it the one that lives in the bin? That's Cookie Monster.
That's the Cookie Monster. Yeah.
Is
I
it
was
the
thinking
Cookie
more
Monster
of the
or
big
just
blue
Cookie
Scouse in the
Monster?
big blue house.
Bear in the Big Blue Scouse. Your dad sells Avon.
Yeah, mate. Your dad sells Avon.
Oh, what a beautiful character.
How are we today, gentlemen? No, we well.
I'm doing,
Good.
I'm doing amazing.
Good,
Thank
I
you,
wouldn't-
James.
I wouldn't exactly say well. I'm fresh off Australia qualifying for the World Cup. And I haven't gone to bed yet. So I've been awake since... In fairness, I did get up quite late. So I got up at like 10:30 today. And
Yeah.
then I'm still awake and it's now 6 o'clock the following day. So
Jesus.
And you've streamed today as well.
and I did stream today. And then I set up to do that. So I'm pretty tired. I have a little bit of a headache and I'm probably going to collapse at some point. But it's fine.
But it's
We're
going
good.
well.
We're good.
You
Can't
seem surprisingly
I'm buzzing.
chipper. Like, you...
I'm buzzing from the win.
Yeah.
I'm drinking Coke. Let's fucking hit
Obviously,
it.
like, the people before...
Nice.
Like, before this recording, when we were still setting up, doing all the test recordings, Charlie, for some reason, had, like, the most energy out of all of us.
Yeah, it's mad,
it
isn't it?
Charlie was, like,
Normally
buzzed.
we're the ones with energy and he's passed out.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll come for me in a minute, but I'm good for now.
I can't
I'm
wait
good
us
for
to
now.
get half an hour in and me and Andy having a heated discussion. We like look up and you're just
Just zonked.
out cold.
Yeah, that would work. I'd be down with that.
But no, but well,
That works for me.
Well done,
Well,
Australia.
it's been a kind of a while since we've done a poddy because for context we kind of film in a chunk and then we
Yes.
release as they come.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we haven't done one for a little while. So what have people been up to? Has anyone done anything interesting?
I'm just trying to think.
No.
When was the last time we actually recorded? Was it like a month ago? So for
Not
context,
bad.
it's now like early June, and I think we
Yeah.
maybe recorded like either early May.
Possibly
Middle-
mid May, I reckon.
Mid-May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody's done anything interesting.
Yeah, we've all been boring twats the entire
I mean, it's sort
time.
of, I mean, for me, it's just been the same old shit. It's just been like streaming and stuff. Oh, actually, no, there was one thing I thought would be quite interesting to mention. So I went. I know, right? I went on a night out. Fuck me, I know. Apparently, I've got friends now.
You don't have
Who
any
knew?
mates, Charlie.
Um,
How are you doing that?
I know it was a pity, to be honest, but it was, no, it was just like we're having a party. We'll invite him.
He's free.
Sure, we
Yeah.
need more people.
He's our age.
Yeah, exactly. So, so my mate lives in a church, like a full-on church. It's got like
An active church?
It's so weird. It's not an active church, and they've taken most of the pews out. There's still a couple pews which they're using as the living room. But basically, it's this guy like has this church which he stores old shit in. He just owns the land it's on.
Okay.
Because it's not an active one anymore. So there's like loads of old shit around. There's like memorabilia, like old tennis rackets, old badminton rackets. There's like a kite in one of the ceiling things.
Some
There's all
old
sorts of
bloke
shit.
like fucking nailed to a cross in the corner.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
this,
I don't know who
There's
he
this
is.
dickhead with this
You can-
white
actually-
collar thing on, like a prick standing in the corner the entire time.
They don't let him out. It's feed him once every 2 days. No, but that was like.
Dry
But
bread.
it was interesting because I'd never heard like music which wasn't like hymn music played in a church, the acoustics in that shit is banging.
Incredible, isn't it? They do loads of
Just
gigs
saying.
now in old churches, and so
I was
there's like
surprised.
it's brilliant. Like, this is probably not the best example, but have you ever heard of, actually it's a decent example, have you ever heard of the band Ash?
No. As in
Like,
Ash
pretty,
Wednesday.
pretty good rock band, but like early noughties, late 90s kind of rock band.
Okay.
Basically, my mum went to go see them in like a converted church, like what your mate lives in, and like you say, the acoustics are just incredible.
They are.
Like,
I
they're
can
just
imagine they would be,
brilliant.
because they're kind of designed. Well, I don't know if they were specifically designed, but the whole point of a church is one dude speaking for like a while all the time.
That's true.
So it's designed
Yeah.
for one area to be extremely well,
Yeah.
sound
Yeah,
extremely well.
definitely.
Some bloke at the front. Hello, congregates. Let's make some fucking
Okay,
noise. You know? Yeah. So,
Like I've always wanted to go to
Start shredding.
like have you guys ever gone to like a nightclub that used to be a church?
Yeah, and I think we're
No.
going
I've
to
never
talk
been.
about the same one.
Oh, I've never been. I don't think I've ever been.
Oh.
If I have, I don't remember it. Why have I been to one,
why did
James?
you say it like that?
No,
It sounded
no.
like the way Andy said that made it seem like he was about to tell us about what he's been to.
No,
Damn
I've
it,
never
kids, let me tell you a tale
Right,
of when I
lads.
didn't go to a converted nightclub.
No,
You
because
heard about
I've
this nightclub that's converted into this church is converted into a nightclub. No, yeah, me neither.
Me neither. Anyway,
Crazy, innit?
but no, I've never been to one. But there's one in.
There
Bournemouth.
used to be one in Bournemouth.
There is still one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where
I don't know.
where,
Oh, is it
yeah,
still there?
Yeah, where I
Halo?
get off the I
Yeah.
get off the bus for work,
Wait.
I pass it every morning.
Seems like a tough place to reach.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shut up.
Carry on.
But I've never been there, and I get mixed reviews
yeah,
about it.
it's
I've heard
not
half
great.
people say it's awful, and half people are like, "Oh, it looks kind of cool," but like all of that goes after the first 25 minutes, and then you're like,
the other
it's just
the
a shit
flawed
club.
place in Bournemouth is better.
"Which one?" As in like emotionally flawed, or flawed as in tiered.
No, Cameo. I mean, the people in it are, but
They are, but they're not. It's not by design. I've been there. Yeah.
yeah, Cameo's better. Halo's it's just a bit trashy.
Yeah. What isn't that most nightclubs? Like, how many
Yeah,
nightclubs have you gone to in
yeah.
your life where you thought, you know what, this isn't trashy. This is.
I
genuinely
did go to like one when I was doing like the uni visit in the UK, and I went into one and I went to the toilets and I felt like I was fucking Jesus because I was just walking on piss. I was like, this is nasty.
These
Like, it
people
was
ain't on
just
my
like-
level. That's just how you.
I'm gonna get back in and wash my shoes after this. I've never had to do that before.
You just start sliding.
You just
Yeah.
It's like
I thought I could do.
like have you ever used like been on a wooden floor in thick socks?
Yes.
Like just like that, just kind of.
it works.
Did you
It
ever
works the
use to
same on my
skid?
floors.
Sorry,
I
I've
still
been
do
watching
it on my
loads of the
tile
In-Betweeners recently, and so like,
Oh, beautiful.
there's a nightclub in Southampton called Jesters,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
notoriously like shit. It's the type of place where your feet like as you're
Sometimes
walking
you
along.
got to use your muscles to actually walk. Like
yeah,
up.
like you for your Achilles shouldn't be used properly to walk, but you have to use it to pull up.
Disgusting.
But like I felt really proud of it the other day because I was listening to a podcast that had Chris Stark on it. And he was like, "Yeah, I used to. My first kind of gigs were at a little place in Southampton called Jesters, really fun little bar." And I was listening to it, I was like, "Yes, Jesters is on the map."
yeah, it's
Shit
fun
on.
now and not gross. Like it's notable. But no, never been a
Far out.
fan of it.
What actually happened on your
sticky
night out then?
nightclubs.
Do you have a good night out? I feel like we got diverted.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird because it's like it's an Aussie night out that like you have to like play to the trains, and the peeps I was with, it was like they were like very much we're going home at like
Pause there.
12.
Pause there.
Carry
What
on.
the fuck does that mean? Play to the trains? Do you mean like locomotives or like
Bro, I don't know
music?
what the fuck's going on. It's like 6 in the morning, man. I don't even know.
Play to the train? No, 'cause I
Yeah,
know
what
it's
does
not just
play to
me
the
because
trains mean?
as soon as you said trains, I kind of recoiled in my chair, and James also went. I don't know what.
That made sense in my head, but I basically meant that like you could only go out up until a certain time when the trains stop running or start
Okay.
running
Oh,
like
got you.
much
Okay.
less
Oh,
regularly.
so actual
literal
locomotives.
trains. Literal trains.
Yeah,
Like,
what else?
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was some
whether it was
Aussie
like an Aussie
slang
saying
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Your
cool.
shit sounds bonkers half the time. We don't know what that's supposed to mean.
That made
I've
sense
just
in
never,
my...
I've
Charlie-
never heard somebody say play to the trains before, so.
Okay.
And like,
Yeah.
I just...
the reason
Mate,
I
I'm
asked-
so good. I'm inventing phrases, bruv. Get on my level.
I'd believe it as well. We were like playing, I don't know, we were like just like chatting shit or something, and you said this phrase which for I can't remember what it was. For Australian people, it's like must have been so normal because you said it very like in a normal conversation, like you weren't making a joke.
What
about
was
it.
this?
I can't remember. It was something like it was saying something was like dumb or something was like cool, but you used a word as like Australian slang, but you said it very casually, and I had no clue what it meant. And
Is it? Well, it depends, because I'm learning a lot of new slang now and moved back. So I quite like the term, it's a bit how you going. I quite like that.
It might have been that.
That's a fun term.
You just said a sentence that made no sense to me.
Because there was like a New Year's party thing, and bearing in mind that it's like right in the middle of Australian summer, right?
Yeah.
I was like, this shit's gonna be like 34 degrees at like midnight. 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Disgusting.
So I was just asking my mate, I was like, should I just wear like the fucking singlet? Because I basically just wore singlets every day for like most of summer. And he was
See,
like, that's a
Andy's
bit...
already confused. Singlet is a tank top.
Singlet. Okay, I was thinking singlet as in like when people
I'm so
do like.
confused by what's Aussie slang now. I don't get it.
Do you know like gymnastics, like what the dudes wear in the Olympics?
I thought a leotard
That's what I was.
the first time I heard
I was
it as
thinking
well.
leotard. I'm like, my guy's wearing plimsolls on a night out. Like, what the fuck is happening down under?
All right,
That is what I was
I'll make it
thinking.
easier. So I was wearing
It's
a
got a
wife
tutu
beater.
on and all.
There we go.
I was wearing a wife beater. I said, can I wear like the singlet to the pot? And he goes, oh, it's a bit how you going. I was just like, right, time out. What does that mean? I don't know. Is that a yes or a no? What
Just give me the answer.
yeah.
What does it
exactly. So this, hey,
What
I've
does it
got
mean?
no fucking idea.
Oh, sick.
Well, how are we supposed to know?
Even they don't know what it means.
I don't think he knows what it means. I've asked him what it means. I'm trying to get a proper explanation. I've established from that conversation it was like it's a bit of a bad idea. 'Cause
Okay.
I asked him, what does it mean? And he goes, it just means, it's a bit how you're going. I'm like, you just repeated it. I don't.
You're like,
I
oh,
don't know
cheers.
what that-
I know exactly now. Thank you.
That wasn't the bit I was struggling with.
Anyway.
But yeah, so it's just, oh fuck, I might have to check that. Singlet might even be wrong. I don't even know
No,
anymore.
I
I'm
think
so
singlet.
confused.
I'd
I'm like-
believe that. I'd believe that.
I'm learning like 2 versions of English and getting both wrong at the same time. It's really good.
Fucky wucky in 2 languages.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, before we got on this tangent, you got Play by the Trains, right?
Yeah. He was playing with trains in his singlet, in his leotard.
Yes, yeah, in a church.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yes.
Then I'm not being invited out with them again.
Imagine not.
And but basically it meant that everyone was like, okay, we've got to go home at like 11:30 sort of thing. So it was like, okay, so we're sort of going home. I still got pretty pissed. I made a good effort. I don't remember. I remember being in a pub and then I remember starting to walk home from the train station. I don't remember getting on the trains at all, but I must have done.
I hope so.
So
Yeah.
I did a pretty
That is a
good job,
fair-
but it was
that's a
still
fair
like
crack,
everyone's
yeah.
like, all right, let's go home. Let's go home. It's getting late, and I'm just like, we're just getting started. What the fuck?
Yeah. And
Okay, fair enough. We're going home.
anything
But
in the
it was
PM
alright.
is decent.
was still
It's
good fun.
early. But no.
It was still good fun. It was alright.
Very nice. Very nice. So
Yeah.
that's a good question. So if you're, as you say, playing to the trains? If
Yeah.
you're playing to the trains.
That's. By the way, this isn't Australian slang. I've just made that up on the
okay.
spot.
Well,
right?
it is
made
now
sense.
slang. It is now
I think
slang
it's
for
like-
this
It's now
podcast.
something we will all use.
Yeah.
I think
I'm going to be
what I was
saying that
thinking
to
of-
strangers now, thanks to you.
I think what I was thinking of is like you say something when you play.
What you mean, like play it by year? Like play it by
Play
ear?
it by the
Yeah,
book or play it by ear, play it by the book, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was going off. So it
Play
made
it by
sense
the
to me in
trains.
that context.
Well,
I
it
like
makes
it, though.
sense
Does
now,
that not
and
make
we
So
are
sense?
gonna use
it's
this.
now a phrase now, and we're going to use it as the intro
You've
for the
got,
next
you've
And
got
the
to
one.
excuse is
pretend
gonna
like the
be,
other
"Oh, it's
person's
Aussie."
stupid.
Oh,
You
it's
got to
foreign.
pretend the other person's stupid as well. It's like play, but you don't know what that means.
No, that means.
How have you not heard of that?
I'm not even going to bother explaining it to you. That's what you say.
I'm not. Mate,
Oh, you're a
that's
bit how you doing,
going.
mate.
Exactly.
Going, if I'm honest with you.
What does that mean? Well, if you have to ask.
Well, I love having like random in jokes like that because there was a badly taxidermied owl which I would just send to like Andy as a reaction meme. I sent to him. It was the dumbest fucking owl. I've got to find it from
I can
somewhere.
vouch.
But anyway,
I've
Andy started
got
sending
that
it to
owl.
his mates at uni.
Yeah. That'll be in the thumbnail
what-
of this podcast. I love it. It's
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a
And they just
iconic.
started
Just
chucking it
just
out.
that.
It was
just
a page which was
Just
I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
was
no
literally just-
border,
yeah.
no us, just the owl.
No title.
I
Just owl.
sort of sent it as like a reaction meme, you know. So like if you said do you want to go to the pub tonight, and someone said no because of this, you just send this owl, which is basically going.
Which is basically
And it was
like
sort of like a,
I
sort of,
interpreted it.
yeah.
Can we send it to? Have you seen this owl, James? 'Cause I want.
No, I can't. But I
Okay.
really want this podcast
I don't
episode
have it on
to
me.
be titled badly underscore taxidermied underscore owl.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever the
JPEG.
actual the Google image of it is, just that
Yeah.
file name. But no, it's
we've got
basically
to put it up like right now.
it's
Oh
basically
yeah, whoever does it,
It's-
put it there.
it's basically the embodiment of okay, like that's how I
okay,
interpret.
right.
Like okay then, or like I'll go fuck myself then. Like that
yeah,
kind
exactly. Yeah,
of that kind of beautiful thing. And I yeah,
because it was like.
yeah.
It was like on a page which was like badly taxidermied animals, and I was like, I've got a folder in my phone which is just reactions and like meme templates, right?
He
So
is
I thought there's
organised.
going to be a reaction in here. I went through, I was like, it's kind of funny, boring. Found the owl. I'm like, that's the one. That's it. That's the one I'm taking.
That's the money
This
there.
is perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no.
the money shot.
I would
Sometimes
send.
you find
yeah.
those memes where you are like, this is just immense.
It's just
this is the
beautiful.
best one I could have found.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's
like,
weird though because it's only
yeah.
certain people. Like if I send something to like you or Andy or like Wakey or Egat with no context, that's just something dumb like that.
Yeah.
You guys will get it. You know
Like
what I mean?
I would send that owl meme to people that I like didn't know that well. To like
The
to like
opposite of what I just said.
exactly to like people who like I have lectures with who I didn't talk to, but like I wanted to ask them a question or they asked me a question. I would like send that after like 2 or 3 messages back and forth, and it would make or break like individual like relationships with people. Like I'd have people like where I'd message, I'd be like, hey, like what's the deal with this class, like, random bullshit boring question. We go back and forth, and I'd send this owl, and I'd never hear anything from them again. And then I get messages where like I
Then
send
you
them
get a
this
restraining
owl.
order in the post.
Yeah, and then I get their lawyer turns up to my door. No, but then I send these, and then sometimes it's like they send back something that's like crazy as well, and I'm like, nice, we've started something here. This is beautiful. But I'd like to thank
But then
you,
you've got to
Charlie.
one-up them.
Yeah, and
Every single time you've got to one-up each other.
that's where it gets dangerous, because you're like,
Yeah.
how far do
Then
I?
you're 2
do
weeks
I,
in and you're sending like beheading videos to each other.
2 weeks in, and I'm sending pictures of real taxidermied selfies with me in it, and I'm like, oh, God.
You are taxidermied.
I'm spending real money getting these pictures. But oh no, it's absolutely beautiful images. Thank you so much for
brilliant,
those,
yeah.
Charles. They're amazing.
You're welcome,
and
man.
of course, since
What
the
have
last,
you been up to of recent, Andy?
not much. I actually went to the lovely island of Guernsey this past week.
Oh,
was-
actually, since we spoke, I did too.
We both have since our last
There we
recording.
go.
Charlie, have you?
Nah.
All right.
Classy.
So me and James went at separate
It's miles
times.
away, mate. Can't go.
But no, it was lovely. Went to a cider festival with a friend of
Nice.
a friend of the podcast, Patch, who doesn't know he's a friend of the
Ah.
podcast, but he is now. But he,
So I have a bone to pick with Patch, who's half a friend of the podcast.
well, is anything
Oh
bad?
dear.
No, it's not that bad. We
Oh,
just
yeah.
were one evening. He was coming back from holiday, and it was my last day, and I was like, "Yeah, we'll go to the pub." And then we went to the pub, and then he just didn't message, and I messaged him, and he didn't message back. And then he messaged me the next day, being like, "Sorry, I
Amazing.
fell asleep."
Don't
No,
worry, we'll
just
have him
didn't
on the
understand.
podcast, and we'll have like a fun, jovial time. And then after like
Yeah.
35 minutes, hit him with some truth.
Yeah, hit him with that.
the truth, bro. Hit him with that. But
No,
but no,
he's lovely.
had a
And
lovely
I'm supposed
time
to be
with
going
him
on
as
holiday
well.
with him and others in a bit, so yeah.
He's a lovely guy, amazing guy. I had a lovely weekend in general. Went to the cider festival. Had a lot of shitty tasting cider.
Was this on Herm or was
This
this
is on the
in...
lovely island of Herm. Which, fun fact,
was Herm.
I didn't know until recently, is slang for shit. Did you guys know that?
No?
I've heard
What
on
slang?
several occasions
What English slang?
by people unrelated to each other that like, oh, I'm gonna go take a Herm. People say that. in England.
Researching.
Google, give it a Google. My first year flatmate
We've moved
said it
into
to me.
3 different English languages now.
We have. My first year flatmate
It's
said that to
evolving,
me.
but backwards.
Someone I met at a nightclub said it to me. And
Herm. Plural
Herm.
herms.
Reliable
Sometimes
source.
derogatory. A hermaphrodite.
Don't think that's what I thought the person was meaning. They made reference
Bloody hell, I have a hermaphrodite.
to a toilet, and I assumed they weren't making reference to the Isle of Herm. But no, it was a really nice time. Herm is like for the. I mean, no one would know what fucking Herm is, but it's like it's
No.
basically just one beach, the size of like I don't know, a few football pitches in diameter, like maybe like 5 or 6 football pitches.
It's a pretty tiny island with a resident population of about 15 people, if that.
Yeah, and like the only thing there
pretty
And
much
they
is
got a tiny
a
little
pub.
school on it where they go to school from like
It's got
when they're born till like 12. No, not
It's
even
got like
that.
a teeny tiny school, and it's got one pub, and it's got a gift shop, and that's pretty much it.
And it and it's yeah, it was really lovely. Had some shit cider.
Mm.
Now, I remember the one distinctive thing that I'll take home after this trip is to bear in mind. So this was a cider festival on this tiny island that people only go to specifically for at least the weekend I went to go to this cider festival. That was like the reason you're there. There was a guy serving like on the bar at the cider festival who to say he was not chatty would be an understatement. It was. Have you ever gone to a pub and you're like, hey, can I have a pint of Carling or something? And they just go, yeah, sure. Pour it.
No, I haven't actually.
All right, it's just an example, James. You get I want a pint of, was it Rocky Road Ale or whatever the fuck we talked about several
I didn't
podcasts
even like
ago.
that either.
All disgusting. And they go, oh, yeah, and then pour it quiet. I'm fine with that. I don't need to be best mates with them. But I'd like, especially if I'm the only one ordering and there's no one else there, it would be nice to have a little bit of, yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah.
Banter.
A little bit of banter. Even if it's boring bullshit, small talk. Especially if I'm clearly standing there just like, not moving.
Dick in hand.
Dick in hand, comatose as hell, 10 in the morning, burning my tits off. But he poured the drink, and you ever see someone do something so like they didn't respond at all, that you like think something's wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, can I have 2 tickets to this? And they don't start to do something, but they don't respond. So you're like, oh shit, maybe they don't have any tickets left. Or, like maybe they didn't hear me. And he goes, I was like, oh, can I have a pint of this? And he goes, yeah, I heard you. And I was like,
Oh.
Why didn't you acknowledge me then?
well, that's what I was kind of like.
So
I
you
was
knocked him out, yeah?
No, he was huge. But and I would never do that.
I was scared, and I ran away.
Yeah. But it was so strange, just this huge guy not like blanking me. And it was, you ever have that moment where like you do something and you feel like, oh, I'm a little bitch. Like you're like, oh, hello. Nothing. And then I'm just there like, thank you for the drink. Just walk away again. And then,
Chirpy fellow.
but then it was extra annoying because like 3 hours later when I got a drink, he was chatting his arse off. So it felt personal.
Oh.
It felt personal to me. But it was
maybe he just didn't like the look of you.
which is fair. I do look a bit different, Got really short
You are a bit
sleeves on
different.
right
It must
now.
be said.
As you described them before, sexy
Yeah.
wrists.
Sexy. I do have sexy little. We weren't recording them, but I was saying how I have cute little slutty little wrists out.
Go on then, explain that one away.
No, I
Yeah,
will
go
not
on.
need to.
Keep digging a hole with that one there.
No. But anyway, but in answer to your question, I had a lovely
Brilliant.
time in Guernsey. Yeah.
Lovely,
What about you,
good.
James? What did you get up
Yeah.
to in Guernsey?
Oh, we got sunburnt and very drunk. Was basically the way forward. We went
Nice.
went and sat outside.
Sounds about right.
Sat outside Rockmount down at Cobo, a lovely beach So Guernsey
Nice.
has basically like the harbour. For context, the harbour is on the east side, and the Cobo is on the west, and so it perfectly rises and sets over the island. And so you can start at Rockmount, and the sun will set over there in the evening. And then just if you drink enough, you stay out late enough, it'll rise as you're walking home from town.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
delightful. But no, we were there from like 11 through the whole day, and just caught up with everyone, had a nice time. It's good fun.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah. It's one of those.
It's always
Yeah.
very nice going back. I don't know whether you feel the same as me, Andy. I have sort of like a love-hate relationship with Guernsey in that I
Yeah.
love to go back. We've got a load of
Yeah.
friends there. I've got my dad's still there. So I love to go back, but I always have like loads of anxiety while I'm there.
Oh, honestly, yeah, that was
Because
like
I'm
one
just
of the
like, it's
big
such a
things.
small place where I kind of think I can see loads of people that I really like and I love, and that's brilliant. But there's also such a high chance that you're just going to see someone that you can't be asked.
It's
that's true.
It's because it's not even. Also, it's not even from like I dislike this person. It's just from a.
No, yeah.
I'm only here for 5 days. I'll give them a wave, but
I
I don't
wanna
really
see
want
my
to chat
mates.
to this person. Like I'll
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
I'll do the
literally.
classic, British bloke of the little nod. That's it.
Right.
I'll
You
do
gotta do the nod. You gotta do the nod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
I'll be.
it's classic.
I'm not a monster. I'll do the nod. But
Yeah.
like when they start
But
talking
even on a night
to
out,
you,
like stopping to talk to people, and it's just like, I've only got one night out here. I don't want to spend like an hour of it speaking to you. Not
Yeah.
because I don't like you,
Just
but
'cause of
because
time-wise.
I'm here with my friends.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
also what
I
like
get
one.
maybe 2 weekends with my mates from Guernsey a year.
Yeah, and like that.
So,
And then one thing as well, and it might be a good or bad thing depending on your disposition. But like, if you go home to Guernsey, you live in Guernsey, and you leave your house, and you go to any sort of public space, you will see someone you know.
Yeah, you do.
Even if you don't know them that well,
Yeah.
you'll just recognise someone, and they'll probably.
And
no
then you
doubt
have the
just say-
You
awkward
would've gone
thing
to
of,
school
I
with them or
recognise
something
you,
like that, right?
do you recognise me?
Yeah, and there's always a bit of 50-50.
Well,
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's one of those things where it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's just something where if you're only there for like a long weekend, I don't really,
Yeah.
like, I just want to talk to the people I'm paid to go see. Like, I don't want to,
Yeah.
I'm not
literally,
gonna-
Yeah.
like, I've
And I
paid
think
up-
that's why
yeah.
it gives me like a bit of like, it's not distinctly like anxiety or anything like that. It's just the thought of I constantly feel like I'm being watched. Like when I'm walking around, I
being
constantly
watched.
feel like.
But it is
not,
true.
Not like in that kind of way, but it's like I constantly feel like people are driving past going, "Oh, it's James,"
Yeah.
or
Or,
something.
or
like
even
that. And
even
it's
if they
just a bit
don't
like-
know,
that.
even if they don't know it's you, James, they know you. That's like they know that they know
Somebody,
someone who
yeah.
knows you.
Yeah, at least
Um,
like one car that drives past you in the day goes,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
don't like it."
Like
I think that's maybe
Yeah.
why I moved somewhere that was just nobody knows me.
I think that's part of the allure, because I think also like a small, because what it is, it's like cabin fever, small town syndrome that Guernsey is. I don't know if you felt this, Charlie, as you've literally gone the other side of the world. So you might feel this
So
the most
true,
out of
yeah.
all of us, but or maybe not. But
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those things where you never feel like if I walk. That's partly I think why I love cities. Like I love going to Edinburgh, see James. Because it's like I literally know no one except you there.
Yeah.
And
It's
even,
such a nice
yeah.
feeling of you can, if you start chatting to someone at a bar or something like that, it's a genuinely lovely conversation of getting to know someone rather
Yeah.
than, and when you meet new people, it's a lovely conversation of getting to know someone. Whereas if you meet someone in Guernsey, you go, "Oh, so who are you mates with? What year are you in?"
Yeah.
That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly.
And then
It's
if
like, yeah.
Or even if you
it's
don't,
like, oh,
even
I'm
if you
mates
don't
with
do
these
that.
people, they immediately have an impression of you in their mind because they're
Yeah.
like, those weren't the cool people at school.
Yeah, or even if you don't, even
We're
if you just have a
nearly
normal
fucking
conversation
mid-20s,
with
fuck
someone
off.
that is to you like a stranger, and you to them is a stranger. All they need to do, or even you need to do, is mention them mention. Oh, I chatted to a guy, Andy at a pub for 5 minutes. They go, Andy, is that Andy? That Andy? And they're like, oh yeah, and then again,
and then
it's
you
one of
know
those things where
everything
it's,
about them.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I think it's like I don't know. I just don't like it. I'd rather have some strangers.
It's difficult sometimes. I actually experienced that up here for the first time. So
Really?
Freya had like people she'd met round for cocktails and stuff. Sat down with one of them and I was having a chat, and one of them just goes like, "Oh, so Freya says you're from Guernsey. I actually know someone from Guernsey." And I was like, okay.
You're like, cool.
And then
They're like Charlie from the Earth Sandwich podcast.
Fucking doesn't matter. Yeah. and then she's like, "No, Toby White."
What a man.
And I was like, again, couldn't believe his name. And I was like, "Oh, you mean Toby White?" Like, and then told her about like him and
things. Yeah, his life. But the thing is,
The thing with
she didn't know
a place
that would happen.
small, and I think it's not just like Guernsey, it's just small places.
Yeah.
If you do something there, it never goes away.
For better or for worse.
yeah, true.
For better or for worse. Usually for worse.
Yeah.
Most of the time, yeah.
And
Well, I
it's-
think
and it's like
if you
you
do
could
something
do
good, people just go.
something-
And then they
that's
forget
pretty
about
much
it.
You could do something at like age 15, 16 and people still remember it going into your 20s and 30s. And
Yeah.
that's rough. That's really rough. And I think that's why a lot of people like leave like hometown stuff, because you can just it's not quite starting new, but it's a case of like you're not going to get the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, your life isn't just
Yeah.
a tape constantly replaying the same things you did over,
Yeah.
a decade ago.
Yeah, because the people that, if you say, I don't know, you embarrassed yourself at school or something, the people that you embarrassed yourself in front of are never in 10 years going to go, "Oh, we'll give him a chance, he's actually quite a nice guy." They're just going to go,
exactly.
"Nah, he embarrassed himself 10 years ago."
I think as well, like, if you do something like embarrassing in front of a stranger, it's just like, whatever, it doesn't matter, 'cause, I'm never going to see him again, whatever. You do something really fucking embarrassing in front of someone in like a small place, you're going to see them again the next weekend.
And if you live there for the rest of your life, you will probably see them
again.
for the rest of your life. Like they will all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could never live somewhere like Guernsey for my whole life.
No.
Like,
It's
I almost give props to like our boys that are still back there. Because
Yeah.
it's just I don't understand how they've done it.
It's definitely like
I don't understand how they've
different-
gone to the same clubs and pubs every night, every weekend.
Yeah.
Well, they changed. They go
nuts.
to a different pub now. Because we used to go to a pub which I really liked because I was organising it mostly. So I was like, let's go here. But they go to
Or
a
the
different one
Dorset.
now. No, Doghouse.
I like that as
Doghouse,
well. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Doghouse
but
is
they
convenient for
haven't-
me, so.
They've gone there a little bit, but they've gone to like a totally different place now, which
Yeah.
I haven't
But
even
that's the
seen
thing.
before.
It's not as if you have quite a lot of pubs. There's quite a lot of pubs on Guernsey, but realistically,
Yeah.
you could do them all in a weekend if you put
Yes.
your mind to it. And then
Maybe not all of them.
All the ones you'd want to go to in a weekend. They're like,
Do you
Start-
reckon you could
if
have
you-
a pint in all of them? It's actually a lot.
I reckon
of pubs
I reckon
over
I could
there,
have a pint in every single pub in Guernsey over the course of 12 a.m.
right, you guys
on
talk. I'm gonna get to googling how many pubs are there in
Saturday
Guernsey.
to 12 a.m. on Sunday, like
Nah,
2
you
days,
couldn't.
I-
48 hours.
I think
Maybe a
I
drink, not a pint.
I think you're wrong,
reckon
James.
a drink.
But I think if you change that to, I would go to every pub that because I would say just as anywhere, a third of the places are just going to be trash anyway. Like you're not gonna, it's not worth going to. Like
You won't tarry there long.
yeah. Like so, in which I think you probably could do. I think you could do all of the pubs you've heard of in a weekend. Yeah. Because
Andy, get out your calculator.
oh, buy me a drink
Actually,
first.
I'll just do this in my head. This isn't actually.
Oh,
What is
It's
it?
like
Go on.
countdown.
Go on, I got it.
Hang
Got
on.
her out. This is thrilling for the audio listeners right now.
Yeah, this is a lot more than I thought it was.
dude, I'm telling you, there's fucking loads of pubs.
But I'm
There's
also
a lot
saying
of them.
Actually,
that
I
half
reckon
of
if you had
those
a
you'd probably
drink-
never go to.
I reckon if you had a drink in 48 hours, you might be able to pull it off.
How many pubs
How
are
many
there?
Pubs is it?
How many pubs is it?
I'm gonna guess
it's
60.
over 80.
Oh damn.
It's a
Okay,
population of 60,000.
you're not gonna be
It's
able to do
under
that,
80
James.
actually.
Just like even if you could teleport, time-wise, that would just be a difficult thing to achieve.
Because there's like 3 main pub crawl things in Guernsey. There's like 3 main lines which end in town.
To be fair, this is quite old as well, actually, and loads of them closed through the pandemic.
True.
So there might be slightly less.
Yeah, but some different ones opened as well. So you could.
Also, this is including hotels.
Travago.
So take out all the hotels. They're not pubs.
No, they are.
If they're called pubs.
Nah, that's a hotel with a bar.
Hold on.
That's not a
You
pub.
guys keep talking. I'm going for a wee.
Pub.
Keep talking about pubs.
That's not how a pub works.
It's a public house, James.
No, we need to classify a pub.
Well, put that aside. I reckon you could definitely do it in 3 days because you would do each pub crawl, 1 for each day. Andy's just fucked off.
But then you've also got to think about
you've
got the time before that in the day.
That's true.
So you could start at like midnight and then work through for like 48 hours all the way through.
Is this
You'd
feasible?
be hammered.
You would be fucking spewing.
You'd be hammered. But it'd be, it'd be a good laugh. It'd be a good
You'd be ordering
thing
half
to try.
pints.
Half pints, what? Half Guinness and lemonade. Fucking Wrongen was doing that with us one
I
week.
reckon you get chucked out of a pub for doing that.
Yeah, the guy looked at him like, what?
Yeah, that's just odd.
It was a bit of an odd one.
There's some things which don't need mixers, and Guinness is one of them.
Guinness is one of them, especially because it's already a meal, as we've established. Like, it's like adding a meal on top of a meal, which doesn't work. But
Yeah,
I reckon,
exactly.
if you just did pubs and clubs, I reckon you could do it in 3 days.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. 3 days 3 days, yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be fair enough.
Yeah.
Andy, what do you reckon? Just pubs and clubs, 3 days?
Is this 80 pubs?
No, so we've established in the list it has hotels and ones that have closed now. So I reckon there's
James
probably, if you
doesn't
take
count hotels.
hotels and ones that have closed, I reckon you've probably got about 55.
55. Is that just pubs?
He's talking out his
All clubs. All clubs.
So is the question, could I do 55 pubs in 3 days?
In 3 days. Yeah.
What constitutes doing a pub?
You're only allowed Guinness and lemonade.
Then I failed in the
No,
first
you can
one.
have no, you can a drink. You could have a shot of
Could I do like a half
no,
pint?
we're not talking like a shot of sours. Like, it's not a half pint. You've got to have like a Corona upwards. Or like a
A 330 ml
like a lemonade
bottle of something.
lemonade and vodka or something.
I think
Either a
330 ml
unit
bottle or something.
unit of alcohol in each club. Or
yes,
pub.
I could easily do that. We all could easily do
Yeah.
that. But the issue would not be drinking. It would be transport and going to the loo
Wait, just
and
walk.
eating.
In Guernsey,
Get bikes. It's Guernsey. Just get bikes.
Yeah, you'd probably get a bike.
Yeah,
Or
that'd be easy.
wait, have I got
That'd be
unlimited
easy
budget?
enough.
If I'm buying this many drinks, I assume I have an unlimited budget in this scenario. In which case,
Hands on a budget.
I'm just getting a taxi to take me everywhere.
That's very true. Yeah. Or you just get someone to drive. Whoever doesn't want to do it.
Or whoever
Yeah.
films the experience. That is get them
Pause
to...
the channel.
You get a cameraman.
Yeah.
Cameraman has to be the one who's driving everybody everywhere.
In which case, I think
that'd
that's
be intense.
extremely doable. If it's just a unit, because remember, like one.
And it'll be our first live video. No, I'm joking.
Oh, that'd be fun. I do that.
Absolutely.
Because
That'd
remember,
be funny.
a unit of
We should-
alcohol is like less than a pint. That's like half a pint of an average beer or cider. So like, if you're doing, what's that? Half a pint times, let's say 55 or 60. That's 30 pints over the course of 3 days, which is 10
You
pints a
could
day.
do that in 2 days if it was just
That's-
the amount of alcohol.
That's doable, alcohol-wise. Especially if you've got time to prepare. Like, if you know, you're like, okay, we're starting on the Friday. Thursday, I'm gonna eat loads of shit.
Shit ton of pasta.
Wait, hang on. Are you guys saying you can do 15 pints in one day?
Yes.
Right, I can't do that anymore. I'm a fucking lightweight.
But this is what I'm saying. If you had time,
Straight up.
if you had time to prepare, you could do better. Even if you don't like, you
If we
would-
woke up at 10 and drank from 10 through, you could do
Okay,
15.
maybe that. Yeah, maybe that I
Yeah.
could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
also
also
bear in
on a
mind-
night out. I was thinking the most I've drunken on a night out, but is about 8 or 9, and that's in the space of about 4 hours. No, less 3 hours.
Yeah, you see
So,
that's an
yeah,
intense
so
amount in a
that's-
short
yeah.
period of time. Whereas you could.
Yeah, no, that's doable then. Yeah, you're right. You're right. If you're going from
That's
start
like a
of the
pint
day-
every 20 minutes. That's perfect.
And also, yeah, bear in mind, like, you can, if this is just purely for, like, the challenge of doing it, you could do, like, I'll have water every now and then as well. So you're not,
That's
like...
true,
Yeah, if
yeah.
you're- if
Every
you're a
every
coward.
third pub just sink a pint of
Coward.
water. Yeah, eating is cheating also, so...
Eating is cheating.
Like- Yeah.
Can we'll do this challenge somewhere in the world.
You gotta
And-
wake up
Empty
at 5
stomach.
in the morning, empty stomachs, straight on the beers.
No. We'll do it somewhere in the
Quick,
world,
do an
and
enema,
each of us
get
has
everything out.
each of
Like-
us has different like things we have to do. One of us is just whatever we
gross.
want.
One of us is not die.
One of us is not die. One of us is you can't eat, and one of us is you like can only have a certain type of drink the entire time. And
You
can't
can
have
only
water.
butt chug.
You can only butt chug. They might win. Oh no, they'd lose because doesn't
Yeah.
that make you more drunk?
Yeah, it makes you far more drunk. Yeah.
Do you know that, James?
No.
Saved it there.
James said, rather too quickly for my liking.
It's also like if you snort any vodka or any
Oh,
like
yeah.
hard liquor or do like a eye shot where you just hold it over your eye, that
Disgusting.
gets you more drunk because it goes into your bloodstream quicker. So.
The eye shot stuff, like I've never done that, and I don't intend to because I saw like. Did you ever see the Kevin and Perry thing? You
No.
know Kevin and Perry. The,
I know Kevin and Perry, but
Like yeah. They had a movie where they had a guy called Eyeball Paul, where he was doing like eye shots all the
Terrible
time. And they had a
nickname.
shot where his eye had come out of his head and it was in the bottle. And I was just like, oh, I know that's probably not going to happen, but I'm not taking the chance.
Fucking
I'm
hell.
not taking the chance.
No
you don't do it with a
fucking
bottle. Oof.
Dude,
It
that's
was,
pint glass like a real
Harry
man.
Enfield, and I forget her name.
Yeah.
The person who played Perry. I forget her name. Should know
don't
that.
know.
She's very
Yeah.
good.
No, thank you.
But
Yeah.
it's a funny movie, but it's cringe as fuck. It's good.
I
They're
think
like the
that's,
OG kind of like Bill and Ted. That
never
kind
seen
of
Bill and
like
Ted.
like
Excellent
dopey,
adventure.
silly characters. Yeah,
Well,
just
like
not as extreme.
Dumb and Dumber. Like kind
I
of
guess so.
Kind of, but not as kind of like
Classically
laden on them
stupid.
being just idiots.
dumb.
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Juvenile humor, that kind of like juvenile, like silly kind of thing.
Yeah, not many films like that coming out in probably ever.
Not really, no.
With the awareness of mental health issues and things like that, I don't think there'll be many films specifically about people who
No,
are just straight
playing
up
on people being
dumb.
stupid. Yeah.
Because if anything, it just might be too sad. Because people are like, oh, this is actually quite a traumatic thing.
Well, I don't know.
Then
they
again,
sort
the
of-
Undateables was a thing.
Yeah, and they've got Love Island
But-
coming out, which
but-
is kind of the same thing.
But the
Oh, mate,
Undateables,
Love Island's been. Have you seen there's a Guernsey boy on this year's one?
I have
Ah,
shares my name.
It's just
Yeah.
a bunch
man.
of fuckwits standing around on an island, man.
My
which
a
is
perfect
just
example
brilliant
of
telly.
the Guernsey everyone knows each
Brilliant
other.
telly.
I hadn't mentioned Love
dumb
Island.
Telly.
And my dad goes, you know, there's someone who I know is on Love Island, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Guernsey to a T. Yeah.
it's like, well I didn't even
Literally.
mention it,
Yeah.
and you know this, like it's
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah.
our siblings' year at school, and like my sister's group of friends,
yeah.
kind of thing, and
Christ.
he's on it now, and it's like, but do you know what was really odd actually? Watch the first episode, and it kind of grounds the show in a really odd way, where you look at it and you're like, I know this person.
It
This is
becomes more
odd
real.
that it's like these are real people. These aren't just good-looking idiots.
Oh
They're actually
yeah, they're humans.
people.
It's like when you go to a football game in real life and you see a player like 100 feet away from you, and you're
Yeah.
like, that person's real. Like he's not just in
You're
FIFA.
like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
Lukaku
We had
could beat
that.
the shit out of me. It doesn't change that
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
touchy shit, but I'm not going to say it to him because he could
We
kill
had a
me.
weird,
Like-
we had a weird moment like that in when we went to watch Counter Strike in Stockholm.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a weird one because it's like, I guess like 10 meters to our right. We looked across, we're like, what the fuck? Because there was a player there called Olaf Meister. And that means nothing to you guys. But Andy at the time,
I know
him.
he like turned to me and he was like, what does this mean? Like, explain this to me in football terms, who this guy is. I'm like, just imagine that's like Xavi. like, stood like right there.
Yeah, I
That's how
understand
big
that.
this is. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Motherfucker's tall, dude.
Yeah, that's another
also
thing.
something that you never click.
That's my
Like
first
you're
thought.
like, I always think of like the people on Love Island are like,
Yeah.
wham. And then one of them was doing his interview,
Wham.
and he was like, I'm not a big dude. I like this is a small, and it's like quite tight on him. And I'm like,
Yeah. They really, because that's not just Love Island.
I were
It's
a
like
lot.
And they put
movies,
Van Weyden
reality
on Love
shows in
Island
general.
disguise.
They do they mask perspectives. Like I watched Pirates of the Caribbean literally today, and
that's an odd tangent.
yeah, sorry, and it was just that you watch it
That
and
Kraken's massive blood. You should see him. In
anyway,
real life.
but everyone like who is it? Who plays Will Turner? Legolas, the guy.
Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, there it is.
Legolas.
He,
Look at us, bang on
he's
that.
like-
He's got a massive
he's like-
cock, doesn't he?
he does, even though he's not necessarily a tall guy. I
It's a
don't
bit how
think.
you go.
Yeah.
Alright.
But anyway, it's just the way they filmed it. Like it makes them all seem like they're quite, big dudes. And then you see like a behind the scenes bit, and they're like, oh, like they're kind of normal. Like everyone's normal. They're not freaks. Like
Yeah.
they're not.
Well, it's
They're
the
not
same with
amazing.
like Harry Potter, like Daniel Radcliffe. Obviously, because they casted them as kids, they weren't going to be like, oh, Daniel Radcliffe's going to be like only be like five or something. But then when they
Yeah.
get to the later films, Hermione's taller than him, but he needs to be taller than Hermione in the shots.
Yeah.
So it's all about like forced perspective and just him in like platform shoes and things like that. Really
Yeah, they
takes
had
away
that
from
with
the magic of it.
They had it with the Spider-Man films. When like I don't
was
know if you
Zendaya
seen
and,
James
Tom.
might have seen it, but yeah, Zendaya and Tom Holland, where it'd be
Yeah.
like he'd have to land first, and it'd be like, oh, it's a superhero bringing the girl down to the ground safely and stuff, but she'd always land first because she was taller, so they had to like change things up and things like that. It's stuff like that is kind of funny
Yeah.
to think about. I think it's because they're on like when you see someone on like a big screen and stuff like that, it's not really you don't really think of them as a person, which is a bit weird. They're like this sort of other.
They're a
better
character.
thing. You know, and a character, and, and you see them in person. It's just a bit of a shock. You're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it definitely is. You think kind of like all these people are like so tall and handsome and all this stuff, and then you meet them and you're like, I am like 4 inches taller than you. This is really
They're like
strange.
superhumans. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, like this is really
Yeah.
odd that I'm like taller than you and that kind of thing, and it's just a bit like.
So it's interesting. So
Strange.
James, we kind of glazed past this. So are you into Love Island now? Are you a big island head?
I've always been
He
an
is.
advocate for Love Island, mate. I think it is genuinely good telly. It
I'm
is
with
frustrating
Team
as
James
shit,
here.
and it has been previously particularly bad for contestant mental health, and that is terrible.
Yeah.
3 people have
But
killed
I think-
themselves from it.
Yeah, it has been
I
horrible
changed a lot
for
of things.
like it has been horrible for mental health, and they've now
Yeah.
fixed that because they have a scheme throughout the show to keep the
Yeah.
mental health of contestants when they leave the villa.
Do you know what?
And they can go talk to people.
Do you know what?
But
I think you're tapping
it
into the
is
wrong stuff here,
fantastic
James.
telly.
I think you're tapping into the wrong stuff
It
here.
is-
You keep everything crazy,
Brilliant telly.
but make everyone like medium ugly,
I've always said this. They need more
normal looking people.
normal like people just to go in and just be like.
They're slowly doing
Alright.
that as well. They are slowly doing that. Like if you watch, like I don't know. I
I
first
don't know,
watched Love
Andy.
Island,
They're all
maybe, like,
pretty fit.
They are all beautiful people, obviously. They're all amazing looking people. They're all like, smoke shows. But I watched it like 3 years ago. I think it was like season 1 or 2. Like, what years after the fact of when it first came out.
Yeah.
And, like, they all could be models. All of these people. Whereas now, like, I think only like half of them could be models. Like, only half of them you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd see them doing an advert for Nike.
Half of them are getting an ASOS brand. The other half are getting like teeth whitening and
The other half are getting
NordVPN.
like herbal tea shit. Like it's like
You can see
they're-
Charlie's really enjoying the fucking Love Island chat.
No, we'll make you watch it. Don't worry. But
I watched a bit of it today.
Oh, did
'cause someone
you?
wanted to watch it before the football.
what do you
They
think?
had like a.
Wonderful telly.
It was the most boring fucking thing I've ever watched in my life. It was literally like they were literally just like a. Oh, what was it? They had this Italian bloke come in. It was this big announcement thing. This Italian
Davide.
bloke came in.
Davide,
This
what a
looks
man!
like a cunt, acts like a cunt, fucking. And he walked in and he had like this box.
Fit,
And it was
He
like,
is gorgeous. He's one of the
what
few
was it?
ones
It
that
was-
are gorgeous. He's a gorgeous
It
man.
was like.
yeah.
It was like a box, and it was like, what's that game? It's not the Truth or Dare one, but it's something like that.
Oh, well, you pick
And it
something
was
out,
like-
you got to like do it.
Yeah, you got to do it. And then it's
Yeah.
just like one was like had a thing. He's like, kiss the one you think is the most beautiful. And he went around and kissed all the girls, and they're like, oh, and it was like, oh, that was exciting. I'm like, is it? Is that exciting? If
I
he
think about the
kissed one of
games that
blokes,
plays.
that would have been funny.
Oh, see,
if he just got and kissed one of the blokes,
no,
that's good TV.
But
that's boring. What he did, I don't care.
It would only have been funny.
No, because you've got to couple up with people to be able to stay in. Because otherwise, he's going to get voted out. If he doesn't go for someone, he's going to get booted.
And also,
so
if he goes for a
game
dude,
while also being a nice guy,
and if he goes for a dude,
you know,
like even if it's a joke or real,
I really hope
if it's real,
I'm just going to put the Brian David Gilbert riveting.
Like if he goes for a dude and he like actually likes this dude, the straight dudes be like, I'm not
stirring shit up.
I'm not coupling.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I think they should just throw together. They shouldn't do the bullshit.
Everyone on
of
that should be
loads of straight people
bisexual.
each year. I think they should just throw people in. Right.
Everyone.
With what you were saying about putting people who aren't models on, I disagree. I think you have all the models, and then you have one bloke who's just like standard.
Yeah,
and then he goes, and they're all like having dramas and stuff, and he's behind them in a pool with Sonny. He's just like drinking something, just not paying attention.
Just
burnt to shit.
Chatting to like another person there, but like just about like football or something. Like it's not.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Jason?
What I've always said.
I don't know, mate. Yeah.
Oh, it's alright. There was one this evening. There was one this evening where the Guernsey lad Andrew was like,
Not me.
I walked in and was watching it with Freya as it happened. And he was like sat down, and the girl that he's coupled up with was chatting to the new guy, and one guy came up to him and was like, "Doesn't it bother you that they're chatting?" And the Andrew guy's just like, "No, not really. Like I've said that I like her and would like to get to know her, but it doesn't really bother me, no." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, but you know, like she's chatting to another guy. Doesn't that really bother you? It would bother me." And he's just like, "No, I don't really care."
That is
like,
one thing
fine.
that
and it caused this whole massive drama of what's happened. Charlie's muted himself, massive pussy.
He's watching it on the other screen.
It looked like you turned it down on your headset.
I did turn it down because I've realised I'm shouting about Love Island at 6:45 in the morning, so I'm just making
Charlie
sure
will be that
exactly.
granddad who like turns his hearing aid off when the kids are just talking too loud. It's like, and I'm out.
No, it's just because I thought I'm just really passionate about how much I fucking hate Love Island. So I thought, before I shout too loud, I better just turn it down so I don't wake
I think we should.
TV.
No, but the thing that genuinely,
Telly.
I will
the
say,
bar's like down here now. We need to bring it. We need to raise the bar.
No,
like,
Charlie. Okay.
It started with Honey Boo Boo, and it just started like that.
Charlie. I used to be in the
Honey
same
Boo
camp
Boo
as
like
you.
that. Love Island.
I used to be in the same camp as you, Charlie. I thought this was like, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I thought this was like trash.
Oh, so
and
that's
it is
trash.
It is. This is Love Island is trash TV, but the thing about that makes it beautiful is you get to see like real people, their real reactions to things, which are admittedly in a weird situation that's manufactured. But you see people who would be jealous people in real life do crazy jealous things on TV, even though they know they're on TV. And they know that
this is a 24-year-old man trying to convince me Love Island isn't scripted to shit.
It is scripted.
Well, they put them in situations, but they're not forcing them to like talk to each other and stuff.
Because also,
like,
Charlie,
they go and
also
do
Charlie,
all that shit.
WWE is like totally legit as well. Like, what's going on?
Charlie,
see,
if you're saying it's
where
scripted,
you've been indoctrinated, mate. Love
Charlie,
Island
no.
isn't scripted.
Also, the reason you know it's not scripted, Charlie, is because none of those people are actually smart on that show.
They couldn't. You're
saying if you're saying it's scripted, you're saying these people are like all like quite they probably are averagely smart, but no genius is going on Love Island. If you're actually
there was a doctor one, yeah.
Did they win?
Checkmate, Andy.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think she left because she couldn't find anyone. But
exactly, they don't last. The smarties don't last because it becomes clear that people don't want to see smart people. They want to see the average person. They want to see
good
Joe Schmo.
idiots, bump uglies.
That is it. That's all they want. But no, Charlie, I think it is a bad show. Don't get me wrong. Love Island is trash TV.
But it is brilliant telly.
But it is beautiful television. Just the things
like
that happen on that
documentary.
You get to see the evolution. Like we all know, you'll know people throughout your life have relationships, lose relationships. They'll go through patterns, with partners, random things. You'll see these things develop over the course of like a year to 5 years, a decade, a lifetime. In the show, you can see these things happening in like 2 weeks. You see the like, oh, I'm nervous. Like I'm
I
chatting
don't
to this
get
girl
why
that's just
that's
arrived.
Entertaining,
Because
though. You're watching people
Because you're
destroy
seeing-
their own mental health for no fucking good
Yeah, but
reason
they're
at all.
not destroying their own mental health. A
They
lot
went
of
on the
them.
show
There
willingly.
is
They're doing it for
obviously
the
the
money.
case, like you say, where there has been a few people who have had the unfortunate thing where their mental health has gone in the bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is
But-
linked to the show. But there's also a lot
Why?
of good that's come out of the show, though.
I don't get why
Like-
we're putting fuckwits on telly. I don't get it.
Because
it's
it's
fucking
funny,
funny.
Charlie. Charlie, no one wants to see a bunch of smart people talk. It's fucking boring. And no one
Yeah,
understands.
if
I
I
used to
wanted that,
watch
I'd watch
Scrappy
Question
Challenge
Time,
when
and
I
I've
was a
never
kid. That
watched
was
Question
fucking dope.
Time. Like,
I'm not talking about University Challenge. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm above this kind of thing. I'm not, right?
I'm just saying it's better than
I'm a
this.
dumb prick too. I just don't want to watch that.
I'm a dumb prick, just like all you chumps. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just I just feel like there were. I liked watching robots kick the shit out of each other.
And that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah, same. I
That's
also
what it
like
was.
watching
I liked
people
watching-
try
I-
to flirt with each
I
other.
just wanna
It's
say-
really
watching
funny.
Scrap Heap Challenge where people found a
Yeah.
bunch of shit on a scrap heap, tried to build a car, and it fell apart and exploded
And
in front of them. That
I
was
also,
fun.
I also like
See,
things
now
like
think about
classic
that,
Top
but with
Gear.
two people trying to
like
make
stuff.
a relationship.
Well,
Now
that's
think
just
about,
sad.
now
But
think
not
about
only-
the car,
But Charlie,
but
the
then you
reason
can
it's
watch a
not
relationship
sad,
just crash and burn.
the reason it's not sad, and why none of us should feel bad for people going on that show, is because they know what they're signing up for. They know I'm going on this
also
show
true,
because
yeah.
I'm going to get these Instagram deals, which will make me hundreds of thousands of pounds over the next few years of my life. They know that's what they're doing, especially now. Maybe in the first season,
And they'll
like,
get
you know,
a
they
free
don't really
summer
know.
holiday for like 2 months.
Yeah,
I'd
And-
do that.
they know what they're doing. Now, there could be arguments like, hey,
Yeah.
first few seasons,
Back in the day,
like where it's not really known, kind of just like Big Brother.
There was-
Early seasons of Big Brother,
And
you'd be
also
like, they don't
back
know
in
what
the
they're
day-
signing up
Yeah,
to.
but Big
Back in the
Brother's
day, there was
shite
also
as
the
well.
case.
I'm still on. That's
to be
always
fair,
been shit as well.
I don't like Big Brother because Big Brother was. That was the case where it was like normal people. And unfortunately, when you do take a group of normal people, you get some wild characters.
You get some crazies.
Whereas when you've got Love Island, you've got people who they are manufacturing to put into relationships. So they're choosing people who are going to get along with each other and flirt with each other and that kind of thing. So there's not a case where there's going to be somebody in there that's just.
They're
gonna
also
randomly come
confident
out on,
people.
like a Nazi rant.
I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
it's like the thing which I really despise about it is that there was like a newspaper article where there were a bunch
Yeah.
of children, school children, right, like 12, 13-year-olds who had started doing their own sort of thing, and they were dividing up the class, and they just dismissed half the class and just said, "You're all ugly. We're all the pretty ones." And I was just like, that's fucked,
I mean, kids
man.
do that
That's
anyway,
like-
man.
Can I just say
No,
exactly what
no,
James?
not like that. They
That's
don't.
what
but we
friendship
do
groups
it-
are
Not
like
like
when
that,
you're
they
a
don't.
kid.
But
most of the
that
time.
kids are
Not
also
like that, it's not.
kids are brutal. You ever just had a conversation with a 10-year-old? They're evil because they haven't developed the like, oh, I actually need to be polite to this
Empathic,
person.
like.
Yeah, because they don't understand other people's emotions yet. That shit happened, obviously, not as brutal as, swiping left and right.
You're a
on-
munt.
Yeah, not.
Okay, yeah, but if you normalize an incredibly toxic relationship, which I feel Love Island is doing, that's bad.
No.
And I think
I
that's
wouldn't argue
like
that.
Again,
I wouldn't argue
I
that.
have nothing to necessarily back this up. I got no stats or anything like that. I just think
Yeah.
if you're watching people do, like you say, the whole year's worth of stuff in 2 weeks, and people start doing that normally, that's fucked.
But the
man.
thing,
That's on them,
the
isn't
thing,
it?
but that's on them. And also, the thing that's good about it is you see these things.
You're right.
Of,
Fuck them.
no, well, no, not fuck
but no,
them,
but
but
if
they
I
did
went-
sign
if-
up for it. Like,
If Jeremy Paxman went on TV tomorrow and went, "Oh, if you put a Bible in front of your chest and someone shoots you with a gun, it's going to stop the bullet," the people that are going out and actually trying that,
we're probably
clearly
going to do
not.
it anyway. And also,
Not if they're children, though.
But also-
not if they're doing it for a TikTok challenge.
but I suppose
but that's what nowadays is, isn't it? That's what we built into a
People
society
actually
of.
died
Like
from
people
eating
will.
Tide Pods.
People will do
one,
that, yeah.
right?
But then you
There
could be
was
like,
one
well,
which was
maybe-
by the way,
maybe
if
that
you
should
do-
have
if you
happened.
do this, and you
They
hold
were-
your thumb
Natural
here-
selection.
they were probably
if
going to
you
go
do
anyway
this-
at some point if they were eating Tide
There was a
Pods.
thing. There was a trend which went around where it's just like if you hold your thumb down really hard and go like that, you'll break the tendon in your thumb. and it'll really fuck it. And people were like, "Oh, let me try it out," and then they did it because people are fucking stupid.
But the
Charlie,
Charlie, I think your argument is not with Love Island; it's with dumb people. Because dumb people will be doing. No. Well, you maybe.
Yeah, but the people who are on Love Island
Okay, yeah, they are on
causing
Love
shit
Island.
afterwards. It's not the people afterwards that are like causing. It's the people that are reacting to Love Island a lot of the time that are causing the shit for the people on it. The people on it, they may be sometimes a little bit sparse, but they also are genuinely lovely people a lot of the time, and they go.
Because also
show,
they get vetted now, at least. They get a lot of people. Yeah. They're not geniuses, but that's by design, and they're also not idiots, and that's also by design.
I don't know. I guess I'm trying to put into words, like, I've watched it, alright? I have watched it, and I've come out of it thinking this is just garbage, and I don't want to watch this.
Do I think
like,
Love
I feel
Island...
sad watching this. And
have you watched the episodes where they all used to get drunk?
Shut up. I'm trying to think
of...
Well, they sometimes do.
I'm trying to think of, like, how I can, like... turn it into a sentence as to why I don't like it. I can't. I mean, that's the best I can do, but I don't really know why.
I think the argument
look at it and just
could
don't
be
like it. I
it's
despise
like
it.
I think the reason could be is it's encouraging for like why you might not like it. It you could argue it like it encourages negative behaviors. Like it's saying to people, if you're just hot, you can get what you want.
You will succeed.
Which is kind of true in real life, but. In the show, it is literally true, but it's also
you
not.
You don't need to go on that. Just set up your OnlyFans and you're
this. But this is what I'm saying to you. The
then
people
you need
in this,
exposure.
Yeah. Literally.
There are thousands of hot people. Not everyone's on Love Island though. That's what you need. The thing that stands
out. If you go on Love Island for 2 episodes and intentionally not couple up with anyone and get booted, and then set up on an OnlyFans.
Well, put it this way: the episode I watched, right? It was just like a. It was like a 2 of the girls were in like bikinis, and it was like it's time for the gratuitous slow-mo shot, and it just went through, and it's like, okay, so that's okay to put that on national TV, but when I do it to 2 people in a park, no.
It's all bullshit.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like that feels extremely perverted to me for some reason, and yet that's just fine, and we'll just put that on TV, and
but
that's all good. And it's not because I'm a prude, but you know
me and Andy, this is the thing.
Like,
I don't think me and Andy are watching it at all to go.
I will say.
We're watching it to be
I
like,
agree with you there, Charlie.
People will be absolutely.
All of them
but
are.
Don't people go to watch certain films because they've got certain actresses in it because they're fit?
Or men.
Yeah,
you think Chris Evans was Captain America because he just looks American?
I don't know. A lot of top actresses are particularly good looking.
A lot of top actors as well.
Yeah, but that's like
one thing I will say, Charlie, is my
it's
my
more
argument
appealing to the public eye.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, if they were all fatties, you're not watching that. I don't want a bunch of 20 me's on Love Island. No one watch that.
Sorry,
I don't know. That'd be really funny.
Fashion myself, yeah. Yeah.
You just straight up trying to make out with yourself.
Hell yeah.
Hold my hand up and say, if Andy went on Love Island, I'd watch the shit out of it. I'm just going to say that.
As you should, if I went on it. You better be getting your vote every week.
If any of us went on Love Island, it'd be hilarious because.
Oh yeah, I'd watch every minute.
We'd just be sat there as the normal bloke in the corner having a pint, just like, fuck.
Well, they never cut to.
But no, you know the scene in X-Men First Class, and they walk in, Wolverine's there, just like, go fuck yourself. That'd be me at the bar. Just like people come and say like, go fuck yourself.
Or no, it would be no.
He's actually really nice, and he's like, you want to have a chat, mate?
You'd be polite, but as soon as they ask you about like, oh, so what do you think of Gemma? You're like, I don't give a shit.
Silly cunt.
Silly cunt. Classic line. But no, I think because I agree with you, Charlie. I think the gratuitous like ass shots, like I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see the conflict. I want to see people like being overly protective about people they've literally known for 72 hours.
And overly dramatic, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Because that's what, like, it's the real human emotion about it. Because if it was just a bunch of hot
about,
people...
like, drinking in the show.
It's not that deep, bro.
It is! That's the point of the show.
So
Charlie,
funny.
It's not.
If people wanted to watch just a bunch of hot people, they just go watch porn or something. They're not going to watch this for just the hot people. They're watching it for the
From what
the
I can
relationships.
tell, you get the same experience from going to uni for 3 years.
Not any uni that we went to.
But what I was saying about the drinking side of it, that in the early seasons, they used to have no drinking limit. So all the contestants could drink as much as they wanted. And so the arguments in the evening were so heated. People were getting thrown out. Like, there were, like, fights. And
Yeah.
that was the stage where they had
That's
no
not good.
control over what they
So-
were actually dealing with people with. So as the seasons have come on, they've gone, okay, we limit them to 1 drink a night. We have this whole mental health support in the later seasons, because in the early seasons it was literally just get them drunk and watch
Get them fucked up, hope they
bump
fight
uglies
each
and
other.
fight.
Basically, the early seasons was Jerry Springer without Jerry Springer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
distracted
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
People with all their teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
people with
particularly
actual
white teeth.
people
Well,
that
to be
have been
fair,
to a
it probably
dentist
wasn't
in
their
their
teeth
lives.
anyway.
Well, the
Like-
thing is,
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know.
Veneers.
There was. I did quite enjoy, like, because there's always memes that come out for Love Island, right? And a lot of them I don't understand at all because I don't watch it. But there was one I did understand, which was like, it showed that bloke, he's got like loads of tattoos. And it was literally
yeah.
as if you'd taken a tattoo book and just gone, just fucking draw all of them. Because
All
it
the
was like
basic
he
stuff.
looks,
in some
he
random
looks like
place,
my
it's like a
pro clubs
bird.
player when I just pick random tattoos and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
slap
he
it
hits
on.
random.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That was pretty
But that's
fun,
what they
'cause
want,
that was
they
literally
want-
a it
want
came
normal
with
people.
the photo, and I was just like, ha, I get it.
Just a normal guy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose that's the ideal person they'd want. Someone generic, good looking. Like, that's the ideal.
It's very much, it is not for everyone at all. Like,
Yeah.
and
One thing-
I never
yeah.
used to like it either. And then I sat down and I watched the first season. I think it was one summer. We sat down and watched the first season, and we just watched it. And it was kind of like, if I was watching it and I was like, this is actually really entertaining.
Yeah, the thing,
I really shouldn't enjoy this, but
Do
I
you know
am
what?
entertained.
For all your arguments, Charlie, the thing that you should hate most about Love Island, which I hate the most, and probably any Love Island fan does, is the fact that because it's filmed every single day and there's an episode 6 days a week, well, except for there's like the bonus content episode as well. There's episodes 6 days a week. There will be some days where like nothing really interesting happens,
Yeah.
and like,
but you sit
then
there and
it's
you
just-
watch it anyway.
and it's just basically like I watched one today. It's basically just a slog. Like it's just 45 minutes.
It's a
of
filler episode.
It's filler episode, but usually in a filler episode in like a series you like Kenobi, which was released recently. Like
No, I don't like it, but that's fine.
I
I
like
just
I
think
like
it's
Kenobi.
like a.
But
I don't know. I
more
think,
interesting in those. But in the Love Island, yeah, a filler episode is just literally like I could have not watched this, and my experience of this series would be the
Yeah.
same.
Oh, it's like brilliant.
That's
Jodie
the
got
issue.
fingered by Chad, and that's all that's all
By
that happened.
Chud, but yeah, you don't. There's no. But the actual, I don't know. I just think it's such a gripping show,
it's
especially
brilliant.
it is brilliant, and you know it's brilliant because like we are not the type of people where if you saw us on the street, you'd think we'd like Love Island, or at least really know what it was. I didn't know what it was 5
And
years
it's the
ago.
only and it's the only reality TV other than it's the same as like Made in Chelsea. It's
Yeah.
just brilliant because it's awful, and it's
Yeah,
just
that's the point.
hilariously bad. And like so to in a context that I was going to say it in, you were saying like Charlie, there's like characters in like My Hero Academia that are bad, but we could just laugh at them if we were together. Watch it.
Yeah.
If you watch it with a mate, it's so different. Like if we all sat down and watched an episode together, we'd have such a good time.
the thing is, those side characters aren't the main characters. This is like a show full of those side characters that I dislike, and then making them the main characters and running with it.
What I would argue about that is the main character in Love Island.
This is,
It's
actually,
just
that's a point. I, an anime fan, am saying the shots in this stuff is too gratuitous.
yeah, that's true. You'd know the best about that. To be fair.
That's how you know it's a bit
Get
much.
the pencil out.
But no, the thing about the whole main character thing, the main character of Love Island is just
Get a
who you
Legion
just
on it. No.
is just who you think is your favorite person. Because
Yeah,
you don't.
so true,
Because then you're
yeah.
like, oh, I'm a big fan of Liam or whoever. You're like, oh, I'm gonna watch Liam. He's one I actually care about, and we'll see what these other people do. Like,
and then as
there
soon as
is-
Liam is a dickhead, then you can be
Then
like, nah, bin him off.
fuck Liam. Go somewhere
I think it
else.
would be
On to the
really
next.
entertaining. Like real talk for a second. It would be very entertaining to watch a season of Love Island, and then watch a season of Terrace House immediately after that, and see the difference.
Yeah, because
What's that?
you see the
So-
real alpha males going for it in Love Island.
James doesn't know what Terrace House is, do you, James? Is that what you're gonna ask?
Or do you?
No, Andy, you know what it is because we
Yeah,
watched
I
a couple
do.
things. Terrace House is the Japanese version, and the reason it's so funny is because they are so horrifically polite and awkward, which is like the total opposite of the
Oh,
Love Island.
They got no
Fantastic.
game at all
They
in
have
Terrace
no
House.
game.
that sounds brilliant.
It was like so you think of the stuff that happens in Love Island 1, right? One that me and Andy watched, which we need to still watch, by the way. We watched like 2 episodes of 2 different seasons and never finished any of them. But it was literally like
we'll finish it.
this guy just went out for an early morning run with a girl. And then like halfway through, he's like, "Do you like me?" And she went, "No." And they went, "Okay." And then they jogged back.
Crushing. Like it's the level where like if you know, we might not be we've probably had times in our life where we've not been the most confident people in the world. But if you have, there are so many moments in Terrace House where I just watch it and I think, if I said that and then that happened, I would leave the show and never show my face ever again. Because also, the Japanese people are also like, clearly like have some self-respect. And like, they think like sometimes...
But it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much self-respect.
Love Island goes too far one way and Terrace House goes too far the other way.
Yeah,
but if you put it dead centre, it's going to be really boring because it's going to be loads of people just respecting each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it would be so.
And who the fuck wants that?
Rogue Love Island. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, which would be shit.
First conversation they have is, so what's your pronouns?
And then it would literally just be a conversation afterwards of just like, oh, by the way, quite like you. Prefer it if you didn't speak to anyone else. We could get to know each other, that kind of thing. And then as soon as you feel like maybe you don't like me, just move on to the next. But
they never showed them on camera again.
What's interesting is somebody walking up to somebody and going, I saw you drink out of Liam's champagne earlier.
Out of Liam's piss glass.
You want to fuck him. How about we have a scrap over it?
They're like, I don't know who Liam is.
That's way more entertaining.
Of course, it has to be. That's part of what TV is, right? It's the extremes.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
So despite everything I've said, I'm mainly playing devil's advocate. Like, I understand why people watch this stuff. It just ain't for me, right? That's literally it. I get it because it's an extreme, and if you're watching an extreme of something, it's always going to be good. Someone is always going to be finding that funny, or find it cringe, or find it entertaining in some form. Right? That's always how it's going to go. That's why I think it would be interesting to watch Love Island and Terrace House and then do a comparison.
Or maybe take the guys from Terrace House and take the girls from Love Island.
That would be funny.
And put them together.
Nobody would be
and then
smashing
do the girls and guys.
Either that or the Love Island guys would clean up in Japan and the Japanese dudes would just stay in their bedroom the entire time.
Or they'd clean up because of how respectful they are.
Well, the dudes in Japan.
Yeah, the Japanese dudes in Love Island. How respectful and lovely they are.
No, I think do you know what would actually happen is both teams would adapt to a middle situation of wherever they are.
I like how you're calling it teams.
What teams now? I don't know I think I'd go, Team Love Island or Team Terrace House.
And Team Woman.
Yeah. But no, it's Love Island is an amazing show, but also an awful one.
And you know what? Love Island being a phenomenal show is a perfect place to leave it for today, I think.
Absolutely is. What a show.
I disagree with the above. I did not sign up for this.
Objection, Your Honour. Hearsay.
Your Honour. Hearsay. Objection, hearsay.
I'm sure that we'll discuss what's happened on Love Island in a future episode.
We will. We didn't even talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, really, aside from one thing.
We'll have to do that soon. Well, that will be our next episode, everyone. Thank you very much, boys. That was lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely.
That was fun.
Lovely to have a catch up from last time. Thank you all for listening, watching. If you were watching, check us out on Spotify. If you were listening, check us out on YouTube.
Lovely. Yeah. And Instagram. Follow us on Instagram.
Have a wonderful afternoon. It's still your morning, isn't it?
It's midnight.
Yeah. It's still your morning though, Charlie.
We're all in the morning.
7:07.
7:10, yeah.
Have a lovely morning, all of us.
Well, have a lovely morning.
Yes.
Au revoir.
All right. Catch you all later, boys.
Right outside. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.